All right, welcome everyone. Today's topic webinar is sleep apnea and specifically nutritional interventions for sleep apnea. So my name is Katie. I'm a registered dietitian for the program, and I work here in the Colmac office as a dietitian. I do nutritional counseling, webinars, and I meet with people in the clinic as well. So just very briefly, if you're here, I assume that you have sleep apnea or you know someone who does. So what is, I'm going to be referring to obstructive sleep apnea as OSA from here forward. So OSA is disordered sleeping caused by the body repeatedly stopping and restarting breathing. So this basically interrupts sleep and prevents the body from entering that REM sleep or that deep sleep. So often, we feel very sluggish during the day or feel like you slept for 8 hours, but you still feel tired. It could be that you're not really reaching that deep REM sleep, which can affect your energy levels. So what can we do about it? So sleep apnea often causes a lot of different things, but if you're stopping while breathing, you might wake up with a dry mouth. If you're frequently waking up with a headache, having difficulty falling or staying asleep, your wife or your partner tells you that you're a loud snorer. We hear that a lot. Concentration during the day becomes strenuous, or you're having a lot of brain fog or fatigue. Even irritability and low libido can all be signs of untreated or uncontrolled sleep apnea. And the reason this is an issue, other than, being cranky, is you are at an increased risk of a lot of different diseases, one of them being stroke and heart disease, as well as high blood pressure, prediabetes, diabetes, liver issues, and even depression. So treating your sleep apnea either through using your sleep apnea machine or potentially losing weight to help with that apnea is so important. So I'm glad that you're watching this or that you're here today. So it's quite a vicious cycle though, right? Because in order to have the energy to, either exercise or lose weight, it's important to have good sleep quality. If we're not sleeping right, it is hard to have the energy or the motivation to eat well and to exercise. But at the same time, it's hard to get good sleep quality if you are overweight and you have the sleep apnea. Now, your weight is not the only cause of sleep apnea. The GERD or sinus issues can lead to the sleep apnea. There's a lot of different reasons, but we have thousands of responders in our program who have sleep apnea, and we're trying to help them through diet and lifestyle if the sleep apnea machine isn't really working for you. We always recommend following up with a sleep specialist, though, and that's something you can follow up with through our program. So very briefly, there's two types of sleep apnea. The one that we see and certify for is called obstructive sleep apnea. This is, when the muscles of the soft palate are affected and basically there's that blockage. But you can also have central sleep apnea. It's not as common, but it's basically when the brain fails to send proper breathing cues to you while you're asleep. So this can really be the cause of more of that heart disease and stroke. So when we're talking about weight management, we're talking about for obstructive sleep apnea, and you'll see why in a second. Because there is that apnea, right, that blockage, having a wide neck circumference can be a risk factor of sleep apnea. So added fat storage around the neck can put pressure on the airway, making it smaller. So this, combined with the natural constriction of the airway during sleep, can lead to a greater chance of being in an apnea. So added pressure on the chest will also make it difficult to breathe, particularly when lying down. So how we can help you is during our nutritional consults, which everyone who is a Stony Brook first responder in our program can participate in, is our nutritional consults where we do measurements such as waist and neck circumference and help set goals with you. But if you wanted to do it on your own, you can get a measuring tape or a non-stretching string, sit in a chair keeping your back straight, keep the measuring tape or string horizontal, and take the measurement. This is common if you wear tux or a suit and you're getting fitted, they'll do it for you there too. So in general, the goal is to be at a less than 17 inches for your neck circumference. And for women, it's 16. So if you're less than that, you're okay. But if you're at a higher than 17, you're at a higher risk of sleep apnea. And that could be a good goal. We like to set non-weight related goals, so measurements can be key too. And this guy, he has a belly, but when we think waist circumference, sometimes people think, oh, that's just my pant size. It's really the widest part of your waist. Your circumference is what we measure, and we do this during your WTC nutrition consults. We don't do it during the monitoring visit, but we could if you asked for it. But basically, it's the same type of concept where you take a string or a measuring tape, you place it around the widest part of your body. We have you breathe in and out at least twice so that you're not sucking in, but you're not blowing out either. This guy is looking at the doctor, but it's best to just look straight ahead, have good posture. And the goal is to have a waist circumference of less than 40 inches for men. And for women, the goal is less than 35. So if you have a waist circumference higher than 40, if you're a male, you're at an increased risk for a lot of different metabolic diseases, such as heart disease, diabetes, etc. Because when we carry our weight all in our belly, that can mean that the fat is located around our organs, which is not good. So these are just ways to measure and outcomes that you can try to improve upon if you have sleep apnea and you're looking to manage your weight or distribute your weight differently. So just to reiterate, a poor sleep and weight status, if we're not sleeping well, it can also cause a hormone shift. A lot of us will crave sugar, let's say, if we didn't sleep well. It can also reduce our human growth hormone and collagen production, which leads to less muscle tone. And we actually can have a fatigued appearance, increased likelihood of weight storage, increased hunger. So it's all not great if you're not having good sleep. So we always recommend speaking with your doctor about your sleep quality, but it does play such a huge role in weight management. So the next part of the presentation is all about what you can do to help change this. So we have found that the Mediterranean diet, which is a pattern of eating combined with physical activity, can help to improve some of the symptoms of sleep apnea. And this has also been researched as well. So if you're not familiar with the Mediterranean diet pyramid, it is listed here. And essentially, it's similar to that, pyramid that was back in the 90s, where you want the largest part of your food group to be at the bottom here, basing your meals around these foods, And as we move up the pyramid, we want to eat them less often. So red meats and sweets are the most what we call inflammatory foods, meaning that they can drive up high blood pressure, high blood sugars, cholesterol, etc. So those are things that you would want to have less often. So if you're someone who eats red meat more than twice a week, you might want to swap it out with like a chicken or a fish or a turkey. We say trying to consume things that swim or fly, meaning, turkey, fish, etc. And if it has 4 legs and a face, like pork or a cow, it's something you want to have less often. So 4 legs and walks on the ground, you want to not have a lot. If it swims or flies, you want to have it a decent amount. And then the common factor among these food groups here is fiber. So whole grains, specifically like oatmeals or brown rice, quinoa, they have a lot of fiber, which can help you feel really full. Nuts and seeds as well can be very helpful for helping you feel full while trying to lose weight. Cooking with olive oil is definitely very important, as well as seasoning with herbs and spices like cinnamon or chili powder, garlic, instead of sugar or salt. Drinking plenty of water, which we'll get into soon, will help with weight management, because when we excrete fat, we literally do it through our urine and our sweat. So if you're not hydrated, then it's going to be harder for your body to lose that weight. And then being physically active and enjoying meals with others is a major part of the Mediterranean lifestyle. But we'll get more into, more specific dietary advice. So we always want to think about healthy snack options, because a lot of times, especially at night, that's when we tend to shoot for the unhealthy snacks, right? The ice cream, the chips, the cookies. So having things in the house that are more balanced in terms of having some protein, fat, or carbs will help you feel more full. An example being, if you just eat an apple, if you're really craving a candy bar, it's probably not going to do the trick. but pairing it with some peanut butter or pairing it with some dark chocolate covered almonds, something that's like a little bit healthy but still has some protein, will help. So you can see here these foods, an example being like a yogurt parfait with nuts and berries, a banana with some almond butter or peanut butter. This is raspberries with chocolate, almonds, and yep. And then our protein drink, our protein smoothie is a great choice in the evening time because it can help fill you up and it can give you some protein as well as fruit. And then even doing like this is an example of cherries with some hard-boiled eggs. And the bonus of these is cherries, raspberries. They actually have a natural source of magnesium, which can help calm you down and help you sleep, and tryptophan as well. Having even some turkey slices, some low sodium deli turkey meat can be a helpful snack because it has tryptophan. So that's why we get sleepy after our Thanksgiving meal, because turkey has a lot of tryptophan. So other protein sources to try to keep at home or in your fridge or pantry are tuna fish packets or cans, smoked salmon, low-fat cheese sticks or the Baby Bell cheeses, hard-boiled eggs, like I said, low-sodium turkey, edamame, Greek yogurt, protein shakes or powders, and some beans or legumes, nuts, like we said, seeds as well, hummus, olives, avocado, and guacamole. These can all be very healthy choices and have a lot more nutritional value than processed foods. And of course, fruits, vegetables, whole grains will be better carbohydrate sources. When it comes to sugar, sleep and weight status, sugar is the most simple form of carb. So what that means is it can actually affect our energy levels, either spiking us up. That's why kids get like a sugar high. But what happens? We crash. So if you're eating a lot of sugar or sugary beverages during the day or at night, you could be increasing your blood sugar, and then it leads to a crash, which can lead to that afternoon fatigue. So it's about 2 o'clock. So if you're feeling sleepy, you might have had some extra carbs or sugar this morning. So sugar can be found in, of course, sweets, but also in other foods such as white breads, etc. So sugar works to suppress our orexin, which is a neuropeptide that helps promote alertness and feeling awake. So you can have even a poor sleep quality, though, if you you feel awake, you might not be reaching that REM sleep if you had a lot of sugar before bed. In individuals with diabetes, high blood sugar during sleep can be a risk of a less restful night's sleep because your blood sugars are going all crazy. And we always recommend trying to consume a snack with a protein or healthy fat with your carb at night to help with that. So back to this, like this is the banana is the carb, the almond butter is the fat or protein. So that's kind of a combo. And we do have a snacking cheat sheet on our website, and I can email it to anybody who's interested. So please reach out with a list of carbs and protein. Now, if you're trying to watch your added sugars, an important goal is to look at the food label. So total sugars are all the sugar that's found in a food product, and added sugars are the kind that are added to the food. So on this label, this says 12 total sugars, and then it says includes 10 added sugars. So we know that 2 grams of these sugars were found naturally, and then 10 were added to the food. A rule of thumb is try to have single digits whenever it comes to added sugars. But for the day, you want to try to not have more than 25 grams, 30 at the max. But really, the less added sugar you can consume per day is better. And you don't really have to worry about natural sugar like the kind found in fruit. It's more so the kind found in sweets. So think about that med-diet pyramid, the sweets at the top, cookies, pastries, ice creams, etc., and soda as well. So just a little tip, always look at added sugars, all right? Another method for weight management as well as sleep management is this nifty 10-3-2-1 method. So what does this mean? This means if you are somebody who's trying to go to bed, let's say at 10 p.m., 10 hours before bed, you would want to have no more caffeine. So around noon, you really should be not having any caffeine after noon. And we'll go into sources of caffeine in a moment. But 10 hours before bed, try to switch to decaf or not have any caffeine. 3 hours before bed, Try to have all of the food or alcohol that you plan to consume. Don't binge, just try and set a time. So if you're going to bed at 10, try to, cut off your, eat all your snacks, have a dinner before 7 p.m. That can be helpful for weight management because a lot of us will eat late at night, which can lead to weight gain. That being said, you need to make sure you're eating enough during the day so that you're not hungry late at night, right before bed. 2 hours before bed, we say no more work, right? No more emails, no work. Just try to find something else to do. And if you're somebody who has to often urinate during the night, we say no more water. But if you need a few sips of water, that's fine. I just wouldn't go chugging a liter of water right before bed. So 2 hours is the cutoff for that. And then for sleep quality, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but screen time can be a huge impact on our ability to achieve a restful night's sleep. So that means looking at Facebook, looking at Twitter, scrolling your phone, watching television. This can affect our circadian rhythm, which impacts our sleep quality. So we say 1 hour before bed, try to either wear blue light glasses, which are glasses that can shade some of that absorption of the blue light in your retina, or start to read a book, meditate, stretch, start that wind down routine so that you're not getting all that light right before bed. And then 0 is in the morning. I just made this, joke, the number of times to hit snooze. Try and get right out of bed. The more we hit snooze, the harder it is to wake up. And if you're going to look at your phone, it actually is better to look at it first thing in the morning to get that light in, because that'll alert your brain that it's time to be awake. So try not to have as much screen time at night. Try not to have much caffeine at night. And try to cut off your sleep by 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you also have acid reflux or GERD, it's good to try to have that 2 to 3 hour window before bed as well. So there's no magic time, but for better sleep quality and digestion, it's good to cut it off 2 to 3 hours before you plan to be horizontal. So sources of caffeine, obviously most of us think of coffee, but chocolate is also a source of caffeine. Some sodas like Coca-Cola have caffeine, and even some chewing gums and ice cream. So you want to try to aim for the 10-hour rule. And in general, coffee is okay. It is a healthy food. It's just sometimes cream and sugar is what makes it a problem. So we say no more than about 2 cups of coffee per day to try to aim for. So in the body, caffeine is obviously a psychoactive substance that can be felt within 30 to 60 minutes after drinking it. It makes us feel more alert. But when consumed within a 10-hour cycle, it can lead to sleep difficulties. So try to switch to decaf if you're somebody who's having some sleep troubles. All right. And try not to drink soda in general, but if you do, really try and limit the amount and choose diet soda. Hydration is very important, and staying hydrated, especially if you have sleep apnea, is very important. So chronic dehydration impacts your body's ability to make melatonin. Melatonin is an amino acid that makes you feel sleepy. Increased fluid intake can help improve blood volume and thus red blood cell number, and assisting in decreasing hypoxia and lead to a reduction in sleep apnea, diabetes, and obesity. So the goal is really a minimum of 64 fluid ounces of water per day. That's half a gallon, but you have to see what works for you. If you're somebody who has a hard time getting in their water intake, we do recommend certain electrolyte drinks. Don't drink Gatorade because it has a lot of sugar, but you can choose unsweetened coconut water. These are called Nuun tablets, Nuun, and they're like Alka-Seltzer fizzies that you can put into your water. And they actually have one that is called Rest, so it has extra magnesium and melatonin in them. So you can drink those before bed. Ultima is also an electrolyte powder that has stevia instead of real sugar, so you're not going to spike up your blood sugars. So if you're not meeting the 64 fluid ounce a day goal, you might want to consider doing an electrolyte supplement to make sure you're staying hydrated. Drinking plenty of water will also prevent waking up with a dry mouth. Adequate hydration is absolutely critical to successful weight loss. It can also help with energy maintenance as well. So if you're somebody who tends to sip on coffee all day and then drink some water, I would try and reverse it. Try and sip on water all day and then drink your coffee in the morning and then cut it off by 1 o'clock. Exercise is a major key to all of this, especially with weight maintenance. So over time, when combined with a calorie deficit, exercise can be a great way to reduce your waist and neck circumference. Exercise can 100% help promote a better sleep quality, increase lung strength and breathing. It can reduce fluid retention and bloat, and just in general reduces our body's inflammatory response. So whether you're doing cardio exercise or you're doing a strength training, try and find something that works for you. You don't need to go from, doing nothing to running a 5K, but, try and get extra steps in, set a goal for yourself, whether it's to use your exercise bike once a week or to go to the gym 5 days a week. Everyone is different. All our patients have different mobility issues, but finding something that you can do to help move your body is going to be very important, especially if you have any muscular dystrophy issues like a bad back or a bad hip. Exercise or stretching will help with all of this, especially if you tend to not exercise right now. Anything will help. All right. Um, Natural sleep aids are magnesium, melatonin, glycine. Switching to blue light glasses at least 4 hours before bed or at least 1 hour before bed. Keeping the room at a cooler temperature can help. Using a humidifier is also helpful if you have sleep apnea. This isn't listed here, but I have a humidifier and it's helped my husband a lot. He has sleep apnea. Lavender can also help you, make your room smell nice. They have lavender sprays for your pillow. Keep everything really dark in your room. And even if you wake to use the bathroom, try not to turn on the light. Try and use a flashlight or your phone light so that you don't turn on all the lights, because that can make it harder to fall back asleep. Magnesium, melatonin, and glycine can all be found in dietary supplements, but we always recommend asking your physician or asking your dietitian, like myself, whether that's right for you, because there's different types out there. And lastly, stress management is key for better sleep quality. How many times did we, go right to bed and we're working all night? I say, if you're having dreams that you're at work, or you're having, if you're someone who has stress or PTSD, it can make sleeping really hard. So meditating or at least stretching before bed can be a great way to help sleep better. There's some apps out there like Calm app, 10% Happier, Sleep Tracker, and the Peloton app is my favorite because they have guided meditations and 5, 10 to 15-minute stretches that you can do that are wonderful, and they have all different types and coaches. So these are different apps that you could turn on instead of maybe watching TV or, thinking about work. Try to think about other things you can do. Other things that are non-app related are building a puzzle, doing a Sudoku, reading 5 to 10 pages of a book. I know that puts me right to sleep every time. Journaling, or even writing a to-do list or a goal for the next day, writing things you're grateful for in a journal, etc. Lots of different things to do. Try not to stress too much. Easier said than done, I know. All right. Does anybody have any questions? If anyone does have questions, you got my email clearly because you're here. So please feel free to send me an email privately with anything that you want to talk about. And again, I want to reiterate, if anybody is not or has never done a nutritional consult with us, please feel free to reach out and see, what works best for you. We're in the office and we have telehealth appointments available. All righty. Well, thanks everybody for your time today. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. Thanks.